Hi, I'm Senior Aircraftman Joseph Whelan, and I'm a member of the Central Band of the Royal Air Force. I'm here with all Marimba today. I'm going to tell you a little bit about myself and my job as a musician with the Central Band. So I grew up in Leicester. I studied percussion there through high school and sixth form, and I joined the Leicestershire School Symphony Orchestra of Andre Previn fame. And then I studied my undergrad degree at the University of Huddersfield with Chris Bradley, who's principal percussion at Opera North. And there I discovered a whole host of music that I'd not considered before, sort of contemporary classical music, experimental music, as well as a desire to become an orchestral musician. I finished at Huddersfield. I got a brief job, temporary job with the KwaZulu-Natal Philharmonic in South Africa, and when that finished I moved to Dublin, Ireland, and studied at the Royal Irish Academy of Music for my master's degree. And I studied there with Richard O'Donnell, who's section leader at the RTE National Symphony Orchestra. And there I was able to pursue intense study on orchestral repertoire and pay my way through freelancing with the RTE National Symphony and the Concert Orchestra over in Dublin, and I'm eternally grateful for them for that opportunity. But I think, as most musicians know, when you finish studying, freelancing is a difficult game to get into, and I decided to join the Royal Air Force. So my job with the Central Band is varied day to day. We don't have a set schedule, if you like, where I know Monday to Friday 9 to 5 is always going to be the same. Each day is different. Our remit is to provide musical support to the Royal Air Force to enhance public perception and provide state ceremonial with an RAF element. So on any one day I could be out on parade with the parade drums, marching around doing public duties at Buckingham Palace, Windsor Castle, the Royal Edinburgh Military Tattoo, or I could be on the concert platform. We've just finished a concert which is on BBC Two tonight for the RAF 100 at the Albert Hall, and that was 100 musicians from the Royal Air Force, all on stage together. And on the 1st of April 2018 was the RAF centenary, the world's oldest independent air force. And for that program we're working on things such as a tour to Washington DC in America to provide support to their RAF 100 program, including a performance with the United States Air Force Band and the Airmen of Note, the United States Air Force Big Band. That's quite an exciting project, and we're all looking forward to that in a couple of weeks. I have to play in as many different ensembles and as variety of ensembles as one could imagine. So whereas an orchestral musician might spend 3 months playing cymbals in symphonies, I could spend 1 week playing parade drum on parade, or marimba in a solo recital, or with the big band on drum kit, or timpani with a symphonic brass ensemble. There is no set routine, and as such we all have to be very diverse percussionists. There's no room to have an area of significant weakness. To pass the audition to join the Royal Air Force, you have to be grade 8 minimum across the board in all areas of percussion. And that was a challenge for me, because I'm not a drum kit player. My background is in orchestral playing, and since I've joined, my drum kit playing has gone from sort of mid-level to up here, because I have to do it a lot more. So I'll give you an example of some of the things we're currently working on. The Royal Air Force Music Services annual solo competition, and each year the 3 full-time bands nominate 2 performers to perform in a concert as a competition. And this year I was lucky enough to become one of the Central Band's representatives, and for that I'm getting the chance to perform Marimba spiritual in concert, something I haven't done before. I've worked on it for sort of university recitals and that, but it's a very good opportunity to play something that's a little bit outside of the normal wind band repertoire that we play on a day-to-day basis. And that's something that my job gives me. A lot of professional musicians, you have to go where the money is. You have to play a bass drum on a Friday night and triangle on a Sunday night just to pay the freelance way. And my job gives me the opportunity to play solo marimba, and later this year I'll be organising a percussion ensemble concert at St Clement Danes Church in Holborn, and that's something that I'm really grateful for, that I have the chance to do that. So for any percussionists who might be looking for a career, a full-time playing career, the Royal Air Force currently has a vacancy for a percussionist, and what you get with that is you'll get a full-time wage at the end of each month. You'll get the opportunity to play some music that perhaps you haven't considered before. So for me personally, the parade element of the job was something new. There's an approach to playing military snare drum that I hadn't considered before. First of all, I did never play traditional grip on a snare drum before I joined the Air Force. And second of all, we don't march with music. We're the only instrumental section in the parade band that doesn't have the music in front of them. So we have to interpret a percussion in a mature musical way, and that's a skill that's taken me a year to develop since I've joined, and I'm still learning now. You get the chance to develop your own playing. So if you want to develop drum kit playing, you can have 10 lessons a year through our continuous development program on drum kit, or you can develop your marimba playing or timpani playing, or just your all-round ability. There are 3 bands in total. There's a central band and the band of the Royal Air Force Regiment based here at RAF Northolt, just outside of London, and then the band of the RAF College Cranwell up at RAF College Cranwell in Lincolnshire. And all 3 bands do the same thing. They have the same equipment. We've just got this brand new Adams 5-octave that you can see behind me, and a recording studio kitted out with all the things you might need to play percussion. So also here at RAF Northolt, we've got fully equipped practice studios, including one dedicated to percussionists, and a computer suite, and a relaxation room, or a crew room if you like, to have a cup of tea and relax. But it's more than just being a musician in the Air Force. There are opportunities to play sport. I've represented RF Northolt at badminton. I've undertaken adventure training, skiing over in Germany, Austria, and there's a whole host of clubs and networks and societies that you can join to develop yourself as a person and as a musician. For me, keeping physically fit, or at least a decent level of fitness, is quite important to being a musician. I think that your all-round well-being is crucial to making it as a professional musician. Otherwise, later, 20 years down the time, you're going to find that performance-related injuries and stress are going to start taking their toll. I've seen it with a lot of sort of older generation given masterclasses. They're forever talking about colleagues that have not made it, and they're only performing at the top of their game 30-40 years down the line because they're taking note of these physical well-being and mental well-being. So I would say that I have 3 main sort of inspirations or things that I've taken with me throughout my career. The first one of those is my very first percussion teacher, a guy called Kieran O'Riordan, back in Leicester, and he was the most dedicated percussion teacher I've ever seen, or a teacher in general. He would come and teach outside of his allotted hours, on holidays, on weekends. He would pick me up to drive me to to sort of the local music centre, if you like, to have lessons on better equipment. And that dedication to me has always stuck with me, that if you want to make something happen, you have to go and seek it. You know, as percussionists, we don't always walk into a practice room and have everything we need there, and sometimes you have to go and find it, and that's really stuck with me, and I take that with me now. You know, if I don't have something immediately in the room, well, how can I adapt my practice to that? How can I dedicate time to something that's going to be useful, rather than constantly think about what I could be doing if I had more equipment, you know? And that's something as percussionists we really have to focus on, I believe, anyway. The second thing I learned is just one sentence that I heard at the University of Huddersfield when I was taking a free improvisation class, and that's that it's not about playing all the right notes, it's about making a good sound. And that to me, when I was 18, was like mind blown. I hadn't considered that it wasn't all about playing the right notes all the right time. It's just about making a good sound, and you can adapt your technique to make that sound. You know, if you want a glockenspiel note to ring out sort of indefinitely, how can I adapt my technique to make that happen? Or if I want to play cymbals really short, what's the best way to dampen them? It's all about a whole way of thinking about percussion in a sort of abstract way, and how's my hands moving, and how's the rest of my body moving to make a good sound. I might play an F sharp when I meant to play an F natural, but if it's a good note, then I feel like that's better than playing the right note and playing it really badly. And that's something that's really stuck with me. Now, I saw a masterclass the other week, and it was about Scheherazade. There's a little tambourine excerpt in Scheherazade, and this guy he played the tambourine, and I thought, oh my god, he's going to break it. This is so far removed from what I've ever expected tambourine playing to be. And it looked really weird, but it was the perfect sound for those like 8 bars of tambourine. And I hadn't considered it before, that you really do have to adapt your technique to the sound you want to make. So my final inspiration was my teacher actually at the Royal Irish Academy, Richard O'Donnell, who made me go back to basics after 3 years at undergrad and a year playing, freelancing, and he made me go right back to basics and consider just relaxing on everything, and how to approach snare drum, especially quiet snare drum playing, in a relaxed way. Before I was so tense approaching anything quiet. We went right back to basics and covered everything. Quiet playing on snare drum, xylophone, triangle, cymbals, bass drum. Everything was just quiet and relaxed. And this free flowing movement to all his playing, which I hadn't seen before I went to Dublin to study, and it opened my eyes to how to sit properly and how to move properly to just be relaxed, basically. And I think when you're relaxed, your playing comes across as relaxed. It comes across as easy and enjoyable, and people start to enjoy it with you because they're not fearing for you either. When you're fearing you're going to make a mistake, I think the audience starts to sense that, and they can fear that you're going to make a mistake. And then this guy Richard, he just sits there, and everything's so loose, and he might be stressing on the inside, but it looks so easy. And we really focused on putting that one relaxed technique across all the instruments. The mallet playing, the tune percussion playing, and the bass drum playing, and the triangle playing, and the snare drum playing is just that one relaxed technique, and it's constant across all things. And to just go back to basics was quite refreshing, and it's something I remind myself to do quite a lot. So at the moment, I'm focusing on Marimba Spiritual for our RAF solo competition, and we've got a few other little projects going on. But I'm spending an hour a day just going back to basics. I've discovered a book at the moment. It's called a 9-minute drill, and it's just scale exercises and pad exercises for snare drum, but it's with a backing track. And so you have to play it all in time, and there's that rigidity to it, but you can relax with it because there's this sort of crazy pseudo game music going on in the background, and it's just making practice a little bit more fun and a little bit more relaxed. And the other thing I'm working on at the moment is how to improve my cymbal playing. I'm becoming a bit of a cymbal nerd. I've discovered Frank Epstein's Symbolisms book, where he talks about 22 different techniques for cymbals, and I hadn't, there's a whole world out there of minute detail on how to improve your playing, just little bit by little bit. And I'm really looking forward to applying that in my work at the RF. So I'd just like to thank all Marimba for talking to me today and making this video with me. It's been a great experience. I'd just like to say that throughout this whole year, the RF Music Services are out and about with the RF 100 program, and I hope you can come and support it.